Hey guys, it's Hannah. So this is our live episode that we recorded on June 26th at Pinky's Pub in downtown New Bern. So you will hear some background noise. Also, because it was recorded live, we weren't really able to edit out any of the expletives. So just be aware if you're listening with younger listeners. There is no censoring of this one. But we think it's a great episode and there's a fun drinking game and we hope you guys enjoy it. Thanks.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for joining us tonight. We are here for a live podcast for the Tales We Tell. We encourage you to sit back, relax, and have a little drink. We do have a drinking game. If you need the rules, they're up here. I'd like to introduce Hannah behind me and your beautiful co-host, Katy. Everybody enjoy and have fun. Thank you all.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Nope. We gotta fix that.
Good? Yep. Okay. Can everyone hear us? Me?
An auspicious start, no less.
Should we do our intro?
Yeah, why not? I mean, it would feel weird starting without it.
All right. Pretend that there's some spooky music playing.
And not, I was about to say, and not like the thumping bass jams of downstairs.
Okay.
All right.
Ready? You're listening to The Tales We Tell, a podcast about spooky stories, unsolved mysteries, and local lore. I'm your host, Hannah Parch.
And I'm Katy.
Okay, well, thank you everyone who's here. And thank you, Pinkies, for letting us hang out here and do it. I also want to give a shout out to Tony, who is our sound guy, who is not here.
Is his wife in labor yet?
No,
Okay.
but he'll have a baby by the end of the weekend.
Hey, if she goes into labor and gives birth tonight while we're doing the podcast, she obviously has to give it some sort of name related to us, right?
I was going to say
that's what it
everyone has to
means?
finish their drink. But that too.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
But Tony provided all of our equipment, and we could not do this without him. Okay. Also, everyone please remember to tip your bartenders. We've got Jennifer and Brooklyn. They're amazing. Also, we do have a signature drink. If you would like it, this is what it looks like. It's very beautiful. It's a Jameson whiskey sour with a red wine float. Don't knock it till you try it.
What is it called again?
It's called a Clurichaun, which is also what we're going to be talking about. Has anyone heard of a Clurichaun?
You told me yesterday.
Yes. All right, good. It's an Irish thing, so it's on theme for the night.
All right. Should we start with a quick cheers?
Cheers!
Did you say Clurichaun?
Yes, I did. Check. Okay. So, a Clurichaun is an Irish fairy characterized by its love of drinking and tendency to haunt breweries, pubs, and wine cellars.
All right. If everyone here who has been to a bar before or frequents bars, you'll notice on the drinking game, we're all supposed to take a sip right now.
If you relate to the Clurichaun in any way during tonight's episode, you can take a drink. So what the Clurichaun is not, he is not a drunk leprechaun. They're often called drunk leprechauns, and that's not correct. Apparently, leprechauns get very insulted.
Well, it's very reductionist.
Well,
to just say a drunk leprechaun.
they are similar. They're similar fairies, and they're cousins. And that's about where it ends. So according to Irish lore, Clurichaun.
I am also not a drunk leprechaun.
There you go. You can take a drink. There you go. Okay, Clurichauns are small-ish. They're leprechaun-sized.
Hence the often
yes.
classification.
However big you think a leprechaun is. I would say between 6 and 8 inches.
Wait, what are we talking about now?
Nothing.
Is that leprechauns?
Okay. They're also red-faced because they are alcoholics.
But they're not drunk?
No, they're not drunk leprechauns.
Hey,
they're alcoholic
again.
fairies. It's a different.
And again, you can also be red-faced from alcohol and
a
not be
Jameson.
drunk. You could be, allergic to alcohol and still drink.
Or it could be hot.
Yeah.
It's a little warm.
A little good.
Sometimes they are described as being wrinkled, having wrinkly faces, which we love. They also usually wear reds or purples, wine colors, we love, hence our red wine-colored drink that has wine in it. Sometimes they have a pipe. Sometimes they're wearing a leather apron because some lore says that they are also cobblers.
Okay, that is not where my mind went when you said leather apron. I went, because of the nature of our podcast and some of the people and stories that we've heard, I went to, murderers and butchers.
Demon butcher? Oh my god.
I mean, we've got demon butchers and regular butchers. Why not a fairy butcher?
Well, he makes shoes. You
I
sicko.
got my materials mixed up.
Okay, more on brand for the Clurichaun. He is often seen carrying a mug of beer.
Does he make regular shoes or fairy shoes?
I saw one story that included him making shoes, so I think it's just a lazy comparison. Because of elves and shoes.
I'm always in the market for new shoes.
Well, I have a cobbler for you. It's called a Clurichaun. Okay, one folklorist, Nicholas O'Kearney, described the Clurichaun as Bacchus-like, astride of the wine butt, with brimful tankard in hand, drinking and singing away merrily.
Did you say wine butt?
Yes,
Is that a
wine.
thick ass?
I guess. No, it's yeah. Sure, we'll go with that. Let's see. Oh, also this folklore said that anyone whose wine cellar is haunted by a Clurichaun is doomed to a speedy ruin. So you don't want one. Allegedly.
I mean, I don't know. If it meant that I got to have a wine cellar, I would take the risk.
They don't create the wine cellar. They just infest your current
No, I
wine.
just mean that if I had a wine cellar and it was haunted by a Clurichaun, I'd be like, meh, I still got a wine cellar.
He does he drinks your wine. He's down there drinking.
Little bastard.
Okay, I'm just clarifying what he's
Again,
doing.
if we're talking, 6 to 8 inches again here. I
6 to 8.
mean, again, if I need to have a cellar because I have so much wine, he can have a couple of bottles because it'll take him a little while to get through one, right?
Does anyone here have a wine cellar? Oh man.
Oh, I have a wine fridge and it is haunted.
Oh, okay. By
So-
a Clurichaun?
I don't know, but it just starts beeping randomly, and it started doing that this week actually. So spooky. No, I mean I'll literally just be sitting at home, and I'm alone, or it's at night, and Shelton's at work, and the critter's asleep, and I just hear beep, 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 beep.
Well, careful.
And I see a 6 and a 6 on the.
And another 6.
No, because there's only room for 2 digits. But I'm
Well-
assuming that what the wine fridge is trying to tell me is 666 because it's clearly possessed or haunted.
Cool.
Wine's still cold and still good though. So.
Okay. So, Clurichauns also carry a magical purse with them. Because,
Okay,
magic.
so far this cryptid is my kind of guy.
I'm gonna have a picture of him later. It's a little weird. So inside his purse, he's carrying either a single magic coin that always returns to the purse no matter how often it's spent, right? Or he's just carrying regular money, but a lot of it. So because of his magic purse, mortals, aka us here,
Selfish dirtbags try to steal it.
will try to capture the Clurichaun and steal his gold. Also maybe why he's compared to a leprechaun. So because of this, sometimes he will carry 2 purses. One of them is a regular, or has regular money in it, and then the other one has magic money, or magic coin. And if he's captured, he will offer the decoy purse, and then he'll disappear when you are distracted and loosen your grip on him.
I know he's not a leprechaun, but all I can hear in my head is Lucky saying they're after me, leprechaun. But they're after me magic money.
I'm telling you, they're similar. They're similar fairies. This one is focused on alcohol.
I mean, maybe a new tagline, or hashtag not all fairies.
Not all fairies.
And they're not all created equally.
So also, if you catch him, so he could distract you with his decoy first, but also if you look away from him, he can disappear. So think like weeping angels from Doctor Who. If you blink or look away, he's just gone. So I'm not sure why he's got the other purse, because it feels like disappearing would be a lot easier than that, but whatever.
Redundancy? I mean, he has to have a fail-safe, a backup plan for his backup.
Oh, you cut out. Did you go again? We are recording. Police K9, get on the ground!
My call sign is Tango Kilo 123.
The crime scenes I search are in the dark depths of the ocean.
I was the lead investigator when two masked men thought they could get away with one of the most dangerous heists in West Australian history.
We knew they couldn't hold on very long. It's a hard story to tell, but I'll give it a go.
Persons of Interest is a new podcast that gives you access to police operational information you've never heard before. Persons of Interest coming soon to everywhere you get your podcasts.
He's also described as being both helpful and mischievous.
Well, yeah, that fucker's drinking the wine out of my wine cellar.
So he'll make noises.
That's not mischievous, that's downright dirty.
It's annoying too. So he'll make noises throughout the night. So he could also just be like a poltergeist.
Okay, I might actually have one of these guys
You
in
also
my house.
have a cat, so.
Yeah, I have a cat and a 120-year-old house, so.
Trash talking cats.
They make noise, that's all it is.
Hey,
They're noisy.
no, cats, we have a fun fun game that we've played on the podcast before on certain episodes, especially about any kind of hauntings, or our very first poltergeist episode. So,
We ain't talking about episodes.
reference to a previous episode where we invented a game called Poltergeist or Cat. So if you ever think your house is haunted, first check to make sure that you don't have a cat.
You might just have a cat. Or a Clurichaun, because then make noises too. They also will scare dishonest servants who might try to steal your wine. Although I'd like to point out that that's exactly what he's doing, so a little bit of a double standard there.
Well, I mean, it's kind of like the classic misdirect. Yeah, I mean, the politicians of today are using it.
Sure, yeah.
Don't trust that person. They might steal your cookie. Meanwhile, I'm gonna just steal your cookies.
Or wine. Also, if you have like a leaking barrel of wine or beer, a barrel of alcohol, and it's leaking, or if a lazy servant, neglectful servant, left the tap on, the Clurichaun will wedge himself into the opening to stop the leak, so you don't lose.
So he is helpful.
Yeah, he's helpful.
It also seems like it's very much a cautionary tale.
It's a self-serving helpfulness.
Yeah. Well, no, it's just like this seems like the rich people were like, let's send a story to scare the servants into not stealing and also into being productive and not lazy.
Well, I'm now going to tell you a couple stories of the Clurichaun. So the
Sightings, successful thievery of his magic coins.
Stories that have been recorded in history. I'll let you decide if you think they're real or not.
Yes.
Okay.
We'll all be the judge of that.
The first one's from 1850, and this is the story of a man. We only know his name is Mr. Harris, and he's a Quaker. And also he has a Clurichaun in his wine cellar. This Clurichaun has a name, and it is Little Wild Bean.
I'm sorry, what was that name?
Little Wild Bean. Wild Bean is one word.
Okay, that's precious.
It's very adorable. Hold that thought.
Reminds me of a cat.
Yeah.
Cats have
Bean toad. Yeah.
Also, I was gonna say that sounds like a great name for like a nickname for someone's kid, but yes, I'm gonna hold.
Okay, Wild Bean. Love
Hold
it. We'll hold the thought of him
I mean,
being precious and adorable.
Not better than Critter, but
So Little Wild Bean was a helpful Clurichaun, so he would wedge himself into leaks. That was the only example they gave us, so I'm not sure how he was helpful in other ways, but allegedly he was a helpful little guy. And the servants would leave food out for him because he's a member of the household, I guess.
Again, that sounds like a cat.
Okay,
or maybe a mouse.
Hold that thought. Well, one day, the food that was left was a piece of herring and some cold potatoes.
Yummy!
I mean,
Little Wild Bean was not happy with that.
Really?
He did not appreciate the cold potatoes and herring.
All right, so maybe it wasn't a cat.
So,
I mean, cat wouldn't eat potatoes, especially not cold.
My cat likes potatoes. My cat eats anything.
Cold potatoes?
Potato chips. She'll try. I'll let you know. I'll go home and get some
Report that,
potatoes.
please. Thank you.
There's a cat that would eat cold potatoes.
Potato salad is cold.
They would love potato salad because it's got mayonnaise on it.
Okay. So maybe he was left some potato salad and some fish.
And they love fish.
But he's not a cat, so he hates all of that, and he's really offended that you left him this disgusting meal.
That's what I was saying, is if he left the fish, then definitely not a cat.
So, to express his unhappiness, Little Wild Bean waited until midnight, and then he snuck into the cook's bedroom, dragged her out of bed, and then dragged her down into the cellar, like down a whole bunch of steps, and caused her enough injuries that she was bedridden for 3 weeks.
And you said this thing is 6 to 8 inches?
Allegedly.
I was about to say,
Yes.
for that 8 inches really, that 8 inches really knew what he was doing, really gave her a pounding.
Yeah, sounds like it.
I should add to that drinking list when Katy makes an innuendo.
Dirty jokes
Is
on
that
our
what that
specialty.
was?
I don't see any minors in this audience. Except I don't know, how old is that dog? Is that dog loud? Is that dog old enough to hear these jokes?
Probably. So Mr. Harris is like, I probably shouldn't have this violent alcoholic fairy living with me still. So I'm gonna move.
That's a solution?
That's the solution. Mr. Harris is like, I gotta move.
That's like those people who, like, oh, saw a spider in my house, time to burn it down.
That is me. You're talking about me.
Yeah.
I see a water bug in my house and I am ready to burn it down and move. Yes? Yes. Everyone?
I know it's really loud over here, but with people talking together in the bar, it's
Okay, so Mr. Harris is like, we gotta move, we gotta get away from this little demon fucker.
But does he take all the... Oh, God.
Hey, we just turned it up.
Yeah, he turned me up. Now I sound really loud to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
They just can't hear you down there.
Oh, sorry.
It's just really loud.
We'll talk louder. Okay.
So wait, but when he leaves and moves, does he take all of the wine in the wine cellar with him?
Yes.
And if Lil Clurichaun is...
Wild Bean.
Well, I'm sorry.
Use his Christian name, please.
Little Wild Bean
Yes, thank you.
is living in said cellar and imbibing in said wine and plugging up holes in leaky barrels made by lazy servants. Does he not also get boxed up and carted along for the move?
Katie, take a drink, please. Drink! Katie does this a lot, by the way. She'll just guess what's coming next.
Spoilers.
So, they pack up the entire house and they start to move. And the story literally says the last barrel is being carted away, meaning the house is empty. And Lil Wild Bean pokes his head out of a barrel and is like, I'm going too. Let's go. Great. Can't wait to see the new house. And Mr. Harris is like, fuck me. I hate this. Are you coming with me? And he said, yep, I'm going with you. That's how it goes.
I mean, instead of going to the expensive and stressful and obnoxious trouble of moving,
which we all love to do.
I mean, I kind of do, but I blame that on my nomadic childhood. I've actually been rereading letters from my mom that she sent to my grandmother while I was in Singapore, so that's a fun story for another time, but we're not doing tangents tonight. Anyway, I like moving, but I mean, wouldn't it have been much less trouble to just be like, okay, little wild bean, you did not like the herring and cold potatoes. Here's our menu.
Yes, maybe change the food before you move.
Yeah. Also, he must really like his cook then to be
or just
so concerned for her health and safety.
I agree. I think this is a really overkill move. But what I think is even more so is that Mr. Harris is like, oh, you're coming with us. I guess there's no point in moving, even though I've already packed up everything and moved it out of the house. We'll just stay here. It's fine.
Sounds like a man.
So they move everything back in. And then Mr. Harris died a little while later.
Oh, no!
Well, that would be the curse of having a haunted wine cellar.
And Will Wild Bean stayed in the cellar forever. So...
And he's still there today. Drunk as a skunk, sending back the herring and cold potatoes.
Hopefully there are no herring and cold potatoes.
Well, I feel like herring and cold potatoes has kind of fallen out of fashion now.
How's my breakfast?
Actually, when we were in Amsterdam, Shelton and I, he had seen on travel videos and researching for our trip that cold herring sandwiches. So literally, it's just a herring with diced raw onions, I think, on what is essentially a hot dog bun. He saw that those were a thing to have, and he wanted to have one.
Doesn't mean you have to try it.
And my husband not only had one, he ate it, and then was like, damn, it's good. And he got back in line and got a second one.
Katy! And then you had a baby with him.
Meanwhile, hey, this was actually, we had this 13-hour layover on our way to Greece where we got married. And so we got to go out and explore and see a lot of Amsterdam. But that was after a 14 hours of travel and awake. And I don't know, it was a really long time. I didn't get to sleep at all. And if I don't get to sleep enough, I'll get, a little queasy and nauseous. And so, yeah, he knew I was really sick to my stomach. Ate all of that. Not yet. Made me stand around while he waited to get a second one and ate it in front of me. And then I still got on that plane, went to Greece, and married the man.
Oh, you did that before you were married?
Yeah.
Gross.
Red flag.
Red flag. He's not here tonight, so we can say that. It's fine.
Actually, all of that definitely happened before we got married, because remember we got married in Greece. And then we got married for realsies, all legal-like, in our dining room, and Hannah was one of our witnesses.
Katy's really extra. She got married 3 times to the same man.
Can't even do it once.
No. We pretended. I put on the pretty dress, and then we did it for realsies. And then we had a party. I mean, it was a music festival, but sure.
Still party.
I'm not extra.
Okay, I have another story for you about the Clurichaun. And I forgot to mention at the beginning, these stories go in order, there's only 3, but they go in order from most normal to most unhinged. Awesome. Little Wild Bean is the most normal that we're gonna get.
Honestly, I think the most unhinged part of it was not him deciding to move, but him deciding fuck it, let's just put it all back in.
Truly, surely you have another house lined up.
Twice.
Yep.
And we had a music festival to celebrate
he
it.
ate a fish sandwich, you still married him 3 times. Gross. Okay.
That's how you know this is not representative here. Hannah's joke.
The next story is called The Haunted Cellar, and this is from 1825. And this story is about a guy named Justin McCarthy, a very Irish name. So he was super rich, and he was known for his hospitality and his generosity, we love. Also,
Probably shared a lot of that wine from his cellar.
Take a drink. He was also known for his enormous supply of alcohol in his wine cellar. But he had a problem, which is that he couldn't keep a butler. We all know that, right? All know that feeling.
I mean, as someone who's been married 3 times to the same man, I do know that life. I do know the struggle that is butlers
Well, the reason he couldn't keep a butler is because none of them would go into the wine cellar for some strange reason. But then he had this kid that worked for him. I say kid, I think he was a teenager. It's very unclear. His name is Jack Leary. And he worked in the stables, and he called BS on all of this. And he was like, this is really stupid. And he said, Mr. McCarthy, if you make me your butler, you won't have any more problems. I'll go into that wine cellar like every day of the week and get you your wine.
Yeah, same. Do I take a drink if I relate to one of the characters in the story?
Sure, yeah.
Sure, because I'll also happily go down to a wine cellar every single day. No one will have any problems
hold
ever.
that thought. So, Mr. McCarthy's like, fine, you can be my butler. I'm having a dinner party, so be available for that.
Be ready to buttle.
So they have a dinner, or he has a dinner party, and around midnight, he rings the bell, which is what you do to indicate that you want more wine.
I need one of those.
What's up? Okay. I think I know.
You need more?
Yes. Sorry.
What? This is a very authentic experience for everyone because having audio issues while we record,
It's what we do.
it's what we do. So, this is like you're in the studio, except this time we don't look like bridge trolls. We look like normal, actual adult human women.
We might look like Clurichaun by the end of it, though.
Yeah, maybe.
I was gonna say I almost made the last part on the drinking game, finish your drink, if we had technical problems. So you're welcome for not doing that. Okay. So Mr. McCarthy rings his bell and is like, we need more wine. So Jack goes down to the wine cellar, and as he is unlocking the door, he thought he heard someone laughing. Thank you for that.
This is nice having sound effects.
Yeah. And then the door flew open, and he heard, quote, a roaring and bellowing like a mad bull, and it made all of the barrels and the bottles rattle around. Do we get that sound effect?
No.
Okay. So he freaks out and leaves. Because he's perfect. That's why all the butlers were leaving. So
Also, is this anyone else? She keeps talking about butlers. Anyone else picturing Tim Curry from Clue? That's where my brain is. And I feel like, honestly, Tim Curry would just, like, scoff at the Clurichaun. I'm just saying, like, in my brain noodles, I've got Tim Curry just being like, bad manners. And, like, grabbing some wine.
Well, this is a teenage boy with a squishy teenage boy brain. So
yeah,
he
we know
ran
all
away.
about squishy teenage boy brains.
That's a reference to another episode, so you can take a drink for that, I guess.
Absolutely.
Okay, so he comes back to Mr. McCarthy empty-handed, and Mr. McCarthy is mad, obviously, because he says, where's my wine? And Jack said, oh, it's still in the cellar. I left it there.
That is such a teenage boy.
I know. And Mr. McCarthy...
He earned back my respect there, because at first I was like, dude, you came in acting all tough, like, you'll never have another problem with butlers. And then the first sign of trouble, he was like, I'm out.
I gotta go. I left your wine down there.
But he retained his he retained his teenage snark. Where's the wine? Still in the cellar. I'm not fucking getting it.
Well, Mr. McCarthy straight up complains to his guests. He's like, I'm so annoyed by this. I just want to move because this is so annoying. It's something in the house, I guess.
How rich do you have to be? How rich do you have to be to just be like, I'm unhappy about something. Let's just move.
I would do wine cellar.
This is
You're rich. And a butler. And it's the 1800s.
Well, yeah, they don't have to worry about moving all the things because they have the butler.
Well,
unless the butler quit because the cellar's haunted.
Look, in 1825, a house costs like $16. So
yeah, but you're the queen of conversions. So what was $16?
I didn't do that for this one because it's not actually $16. It's maybe probably like $200,000. I don't know. However much houses are today.
No,
Anyway.
no. Houses today should not cost what houses today cost.
Okay. So anyways, Mr. McCarthy's like, I'm gonna move, but in the meantime, I'm gonna get us some wine. I guess I'll go down and get it myself. So he goes down to the cellar. He heard what he thought was mice scrambling around, which I would argue is not better than having an alcoholic fairy in there, but
more realistic and more like treatable, for lack of a better word.
Well, but then he saw a little figure.
Like a mouse?
No, I will describe it now. It was a humanoid thing, I don't know, humanish, 6 inches tall.
He's got a disappointing one. Huh?
He could have been more than 6 inches. Men aren't great at measuring that.
No, they're not.
Anyways, he was sitting on a bottle of port. He was also wearing a red nightcap. He was also wearing a short leather apron that was askew, presumably from being drunk. Like, he was so drunk that his clothes were just like
I've been
wonky.
there. I've been there. No judges.
He also had on light blue stockings that covered almost his whole leg. So, like, thigh ties.
So he was just wearing an apron that was askew.
That's what I think. An apron and then light blue thigh highs, and also shoes that had huge silver buckles and high heels on them because he was. I have a picture, guys. Don't worry.
I'm gonna go ahead and take a drink on that because I can relate to that outfit.
Okay.
Or wait, what's the meme? You've heard of Elf on the Shelf? How about Clurichaun on the
port, bottle port icon?
No.
Come on, I can't rhyme on this side. His face was, quote, like a withered winter apple. Rude.
What?
His face was wrinkly.
like a wrinkly apple because it's red too.
Yes, because his nose was also reddish purple, but his eyes twinkled, and he was Santa also holding a spigot for the barrel, like he was ready to break into the barrel. And I have a picture that I made myself.
And we get to pass it around, like class show and tell.
I tried to AI generate this thing, and AI was not doing what I wanted it to. So I made this in Canva by myself. This is a picture of our Clurichaun. He's wearing thank you so much. He's wearing high heel boots.
Wow, that's a classy looking elf.
Thank you. Yeah, he should be. I didn't have a way of removing the rest of his clothes, so he was only wearing the apron.
You didn't have Jared
get him a drink.
apron and high heel buckled shoes.
Well, now I know what we're gonna wear next live show.
We stressed so
I'm
much
definitely coming to that one.
what we were wearing.
We'll put on a show.
We'll put on a great show.
This is our matinee performance. Come back at 11:30 for.
I just want to point out,
the
even though it
real
didn't
show.
say it in the description, he's carrying his magical purse. Imagine that there's magic coins in there. That's what's happening.
Honestly, I think this might be better than what AI could have come up
I think
with.
it was. AI picked like 2 things that I said, and they're like, here's a red-faced person with a hat. Anyways, this little guy introduces himself.
This also needs to be framed and hung in our studio. You know that,
Put it
right?
in that frame there. So his name was Naganine, which means little drink.
Means what now?
Little drink.
Okay, that's. At first, it was like, that's not as good as Little Wild Bean.
Little Wild Bean's pretty good. The Naganine.
It just makes me think of like early 2000s young rappers, like Lil Bow Wow.
Yep.
Lil Wild Bean, Lil Bow Wow, and
Lil Romeo. Lil Romeo.
Lil Romeo, yeah.
They're doing okay. I hope they're not problematic.
Not.
Okay.
Some of them are.
Okay.
Well, I mean, Lil Bow Wow is now just Bow Wow.
Is he?
Yeah.
Okay.
He grew up.
He grew up. He's not Lil anymore.
No longer little. Okay, so Naganine introduces himself, and he looks up at Mr. McCarthy. this is directly from the text.
Verbatim.
Well, it's not a quote. It's just
No,
this
is verbatim from Nagadine's mouth.
He looks at Mr. McCarthy with one eye while looking at the spigot he's holding with the other eye. So he also apparently has amblyopia, which needs to be corrected.
So he has a lazy eye?
He has a lazy, yeah. You can correct the patching, it's fine. But then
I had that.
He says, "Oh, I heard that we're moving. I heard you talking about us moving. So, where are we moving to? You're not going to leave me, are you?"
Is there like a hiccup somewhere in there too? Like, I heard we're moving.
Where are we going? Yeah. So Mr. McCarthy thinks to himself, he's like, well, he's just going to follow me. I guess there's no point in moving.
At least he was smart enough to not do the whole packing up process.
Yeah.
Not that he was involved in the packing, I'm sure.
That's actually a good point. If you had everyone else pack up your house for you, I would be much more willing to be like, never mind, let's just unpack it all.
When we moved to New Bern, my husband's company did pay a moving company to come in and actually pack up our house in South Carolina, put it on a truck, and then bring it and then unload it. Like, they didn't unpack, they just unloaded it.
At what age do you stop asking friends to help you move? Anyone? Never? Okay.
You get one move, that's it.
That's true, you get one move. But
that's when you
ask
move,
different
but
friends.
Yeah, you move and you get new friends.
And you pay them with pizza and beer, right? Okay. I was making sure. That's what I did last time, a couple years ago. Mr. McCarthy is like, I don't know, what's the point? You can stay here, I guess. I'm going to grab the wine that I promised and go back upstairs. So he does. He lives the rest of his life just with little Nagadine hanging out in his cellar. He did have to get all the wine himself. His butler problem never got solved.
What a travesty.
I know, it's really hard getting all your alcohol yourself.
Having to serve my own wine. By the way, PA? No, I'm just kidding. This is a test of the system.
Yes. Okay. So sorry,
I mean, we could go ahead and get one started. The babysitter just texted that the critter is down, so...
There's a drinking. You guys have a drinking game? People up front who came in late, there's a drinking game. There's a little sheet right there. Okay. I just want to make sure you're following along and having fun. Okay, anyways, Mr. McCarthy eventually dies, and Nagadine is still around, but he was really, really sad about Mr. McCarthy dying.
Did he leave some herring and cold potatoes on his grave?
No, he just let himself go.
By let himself go, you mean did he drink himself to death?
No, like hygiene-wise. He let his personal hygiene go and just... But he still lived in the cellar. And, oh, sorry, I forgot to mention. The reason he was really devastated is because after Mr. McCarthy died, he couldn't replenish the wine cellar. So he ran out of alcohol and
death by sobriety?
Yes.
That's a new one.
Okay, so that was also the entire story. I got through that story and I was like expecting there to be a arc, like a, I don't know, plot point.
Well, also I
something actually
imagine
happened.
now Mr. McCarthy has to get his own wine, so every time he goes down there, he probably has a little tete-a-tete with Nagadine.
That would be very annoying.
And so, no, I mean...
That's when people stop keeping wine in wine cellars. They're like, I have to go talk to someone, I'm just going to keep it up here on the kitchen counter in a box.
Well, I was thinking that he was sad that Mr. McCarthy died because that was his buddy. Like, that was the only person he had to talk to. He had the wine.
Supplier.
And he had... I mean, never be friends with your dealer, but... Isn't that the rule?
Sure, correct, yes. No break, yeah. Okay, my last...
friends, come on. I make dick jokes and make wholesome storylines. That's my team.
Yeah.
I like the wholesome shit and the dick jokes.
Emphasis on the whole.
That's my girl.
Okay, last story. This is the most unhinged. This is just a weird story. So everyone buckle up. Make
Tear
sure you
off
have it
those
ready.
hinges.
This is called Master and Man. It's not a great title. We can talk about that later.
Don't appreciate the title. No, off to a great start. They need to go back and workshop that.
Yes, they do, but at the end you can come up with a better name for it. Okay. Alright, so our main character is a guy named Billy McDaniel. Unclear how old he is, but he's the local drunk.
We all know one. We all know one.
There's a lot of sentences that describe him, and I just summarized that. So, he was described as fearing for nothing but the want of a drink, caring for nothing but who should pay for it.
What is that? Ooh, no, I like that.
What is it?
No, I already have one of the Clurichauns coming, but it's lavender. What was it? Lavender lemonade. I love all things lavender.
Ooh, that does sound really good. I'm only drinking on theme tonight, though. Sorry.
Yeah. I already got another one coming, but that's next. If I'm still standing after this next one, I mean, granted, I'm just sitting, but
You are, yeah.
I'm sitting upright. See? There, I've already got one coming, but that's next.
I've already have a lavender coming for you.
Oh, ooh. No, it's like next.
Give it up for the
Best PA ever.
Okay, PA.
All right. Tell me more about
Okay.
Master and Man.
Billy McDaniel, our local drunk.
Oh, that's right.
Something about Billy. What? Yeah, no.
Different town,
well,
different town, sweetie, different town.
Here's the thing, though. This is why I classify him. I feel like everyone knows this person. He always wants to drink, but he always wants someone else to pay for it. Right?
Yeah, no, that sounds like the town drunk for sure. But
So,
I don't know, because I've known some drunks that are just some of the most generous people ever.
that was not
That
his
they want you to drink with them.
Hold that thought. Until much later. But just hold on. Okay, so one night, it's shortly after Christmas. Billy is walking home, I guess, from the bar, and he's so cold, and he's like, man, I wish I had a drink to keep me warm. Which is something I have said, but I'm not proud of.
It's also not true. It does not warm you up. It makes you think that you are warm. It makes you feel warm, but actually it's like the opposite. I forget all the science.
It makes you more
And
comfortable.
physiology.
So
Yeah.
who cares?
I mean, you can freeze to death and not be miserable, so.
So Billy's like wishing out loud, he's like, man, I wish I had a drink. This is so cold. Out of nowhere.
Did he say it at a crossroads?
No. They're not crossroad demons. They're leprechaun cousins.
Any chance to encounter a crossroads demon is super fun.
But he did say it, and then all of a sudden a little man shows up. And I'm going to go and tell you guys, this Clurichaun does not have a name, so I'm just going to call him the Clurichaun the whole time. Sorry.
Come on, we can come up with a name for him, right? Anyone, what would you name your Clurichaun?
A Clurichaun. Bullshit.
What do we have here?
Alfred!
I heard Alfred. I want to hear what you had to say, but I can't. You're too far away.
Little Alfie.
Come on up here.
Little Alfie.
Come on up.
I do like Alfred. Jelly bean. All right.
Bean.
Little Alfred Jelly Bean.
Alfred.
But he's Lil.
Little Alfred Jelly. Okay.
Lil Alfred Jelly Bean.
So in our version, he introduces himself and says, hello, I'm Little Alfred Jelly Bean. He's wearing, so picture my last picture that I drew for you, but instead of a red hat, he's wearing a 3/4 hat, gold lace. I don't know where the lace is, if it's on his body or on his hat. And then also giant buckles on his shoes. I don't know why the Clurichauns have a thing about giant buckles.
I got little buckles.
That doesn't count.
I'm taking a sip anyway.
Okay. Yeah, everyone's still drinking when they relate to him, right? Okay, so he is like, hey Billy, I've got this giant glass of top shelf liquor that you can have if you want.
I would 100% take a glass of top shelf liquor from a small man
Small stranger.
who has introduced himself as Little Alfred Jelly Bean.
Little Alfred Jelly Bean. And Billy's like, absolutely I will, because I'm an alcoholic. And so he drinks the whole thing like a shot.
Also want to point out that the name Lil Alfred Jelly Bean definitely sounds like something someone would name their cat.
That's my rapper name.
Or their spell.
Oh, there. Let's say some bars.
Okay.
No, you're an adult. You are just Alfred Jelly Bean, okay? You're not Lil anymore.
Jellybean is like, I'm so glad you love that. Give me money for it now. You have to pay for that drink. And Billy's like, fuck you, I have to pay for that drink. I'm not paying for this drink. I'm a regular sized person and you are just a small fairy and I could put you in my pocket like a blackberry. The fruit, not the phone.
Okay, is anyone else here a Buffy fan?
Yes.
Okay. 3 people. Do y'all remember the episode? They were in like the haunted house and they painted the symbols and the haunted house came alive and then they destroyed the symbol but it summoned the fear demon.
And he's like this big.
Yeah.
And then she stops him.
And she just steps on him. Like that's what I'm anticipating. The drunk is, that's his attitude right now is like,
yes.
I'm not gonna pay for that. I'm just gonna step on you.
Yes, that's exactly. He's like, I'm so much bigger than you. I don't have to pay for this. And little Alfred Jellybean got big mad. And he's like,
Little Alfred Jellybean.
Yeah. It's a really big mouthful to say that name.
As someone who has a toddler, I fully understand the wrath of big feelings, little Bobby.
Yes. Well, Alfred Jellybean, little Alfred Jellybean, is like, fuck that, you have to be my servant for 7 years and a day as payment, and because of magic, that is what happens.
So what does the drunk do? What's his name again? Billy?
Billy.
So what does Billy do? Like carry him around in his pocket and bringing him, like helping him break into wine cellars?
You don't carry little Jellybean in your
Leprechaun
pocket.
in your pocket or in your pocket?
No, he's forced to follow little Jellybean. I'm just gonna call him little Jellybean, I'm so sorry. He's forced to follow him around because of magic. So he follows him the rest of the night, all night. They go through the country, over a hedge, over a ditch, through a bog,
Through the woods and over the hills to grandmother's house we go?
No. They just go to the middle, they just go to a bog. But it's all night, they're walking all night. And then when morning comes...
I got one of those friends too.
When morning comes, Billy's like, I'm so tired. Little Jellybean's like, you go home. For now. Done for now.
So much for the 7.5 years, you said?
No, but then he says, you have to meet me here tomorrow night to keep going. So the next night, Billy shows up, and
so basically, the alcoholic found an enabler. And I mean that both of them.
Yes, absolutely. You can take a drink for that because they're about to go drink. Billy shows up and I'm getting my Clurichaun confused. Little Jellybean is there and he's like, we're gonna go on a really long trip tonight, but I know walking was really rough last night, so we're gonna ride horses. Congratulations.
I mean, what person hasn't been drunk and out and about in the world and been like, you know what would make tonight better?
A giant horse. To be fair, none of them are drunk yet.
I feel like that's also how cow tipping became a thing, which is something I still don't understand. Like, I spent a lot of time living in the country.
Big animals, they get less scary when you're drunk. Also, small animals get less scary when you're drunk. Everything gets less scary when you're drunk. That's why people do it.
That's why people do it?
I'm not promoting alcoholism. I'm just stating a fact. So little Jellybean's like, Billy, go out to the bog, get me 2 reeds, very strong reeds. Reeds.
One more time.
Reeds.
Are you saying that correctly?
I'm just making sure she's not saying reeds.
No, like the things that grow from swamps. Reeds.
Yes.
That's right.
Reeds. Plant pieces. So Billy's like, okay, I'll do that. So he brings him back these reeds.
And you said they're not drunk yet?
Nope, they're not drunk yet. I mean, Billy might be because he does drink all the time, but little Jellybean takes his reed and he climbs on it like a horse, and he's like, Billy, do this, do what I'm doing. And Billy's like, no, that looks really stupid what you're doing. I'm not gonna do it.
What, riding a horse?
Riding a reed.
Oh, riding a
It's
reed?
just a piece of plant, yes. and they climb on it like a horse. And also, Billy is like a full-size human person, and he gets this piece of plant, and they're like, straddle it like a horse.
So what does he do? Just like lay it on the ground and sit on it like, huzzah!
So he does. He like,
it's a wee little broomstick.
He jumps on. He does what he's told. Eventually, whatever. Save a reed. Save a horse, ride a reed. Correct. Yes.
I feel like that's something that clarinetists might say, or whatever people who play the clarinet are called. Clarinetists.
Readers.
Because I know a person who plays a flute is a flautist. What is a person who plays the clarinet? But I know the clarinets take reeds.
Clarinet.
They sure know how to tongue a reed. I don't know if they know how to ride a reed.
I don't get the jokes anymore.
I was a clarinet player back then.
Again, like if you get that joke, you were a band kid.
Okay, so Billy finally straddles the reed.
Ride that reed.
And then Little Jellybean shouts, "Ba-bomb!" 3 times.
Okay, I was about to say, I feel like I'm envisioning another like fun logo design here, but now I for real am. I'm envisioning like a cattail. And a regular sized person and a very small person riding it like a witch's broom.
Yep.
And then it just says
"Ba-bomb"
at the
but
bottom.
you have to say it 3 times because that's how magic works.
And Beetlejuice.
And then also, after he said it 3 times, they turned into actual horses. But
they turned into horses?
No, the reeds turned into horses. So they're sitting on horses now. But because Billy thought it was a joke and he was like careless when he mounted his reed, he's sitting on the horse backwards. What?
Okay, so I actually...
It's just reverse cowboy.
Exactly.
There is
reverse cowboy. Reverse cowboy.
Young adult, new adult, like fantasy series called The Cruel Prince. Anyone familiar? There we go.
Of course, yeah.
But it's about fairies. Like,
of course it is.
The UK fairies. And at one point, yes, one of the like tricks that they do is taking like reeds, basically, or plants. I forget exactly what it was. But they turn them into horses.
Yeah,
so that's a thing in fairy lore. Is
exactly, yes.
It's not a reed, it's a noble steed.
Exactly, your noble reed steed. So Billy's on his horse backwards. He cannot turn around. He has to ride the horse backwards the whole way, holding on to the tail like an idiot.
The horse would not appreciate that, I'm sure.
It's also a reed. It's a reed steed, so they think different.
Reeds have feelings too. Reed horses do at least.
So they get to their destination, which is a giant house, and Little Jellybean says some magic words, and they go through the keyhole of the front door. And then they
Tinkerbell vibes.
Yeah, and then they just kept going through keyholes until they got to the wine cellar.
How many keyholes?
I don't know. It didn't say. It was a lot of keyholes.
They were just driving their reeds through those holes.
Everyone take a drink for that. That's God. I didn't know there were going to be so many. I did not foresee this.
I had a shot to start the night off.
So did I.
Do you remember the last time we recorded Gypsy? That was a shit show.
You mean a week ago?
A week and a half.
When I forgot my notes. Yes, I do remember that. We were drinking milkshakes and eating french fries. Yeah, and we talked about...
Thanks again, Jared.
We talked about human chimpanzee hybrids.
The Chuman, or the man-pansy. I think that's my favorite.
It's not great. You can skip that one if you want to. Okay, they get to the wine cellar through their keyholes. I guess they just start drinking when they're there and just drink the rest of the night. And then when they're done, they just go back the same way they came through the keyhole. This is just like Little Jellybean's thing. He's just like, I just go through keyholes and drink people's wine, and I just need
he's this big.
He's 6 inches, Katy. Okay. Wow.
My husband's been lying to me.
Your husband's not here, so we can say what we want to.
And he's never gonna listen. Actually, no, now that it's on YouTube, he probably will listen.
I almost just announced his job and phone so people can find him.
Let's not do that. I'm not putting him on blast. He's a very wonderful, supportive husband.
He's a great person. So they get done drinking. They go back. They ride their reed steeds back to the field. And Little Jellybean's like, okay, Billy, you can go home, but come back the next night. We got more shit to do.
AKA, we got more wine to drink.
We got more wine to drink. So Billy keeps.
And how long is his servitude for? 7.5 years?
7 years. 7 years and a day.
7 years and a day.
Yes. And I feel like by now he's like, this is a great gig. I'm just going to go out and get drunk every night for free, which is what he wants.
Right.
So he keeps coming back, and every night they do the same thing. They break into wine cellars.
Hit a different cellar.
And just whatever. So one night, Little Jellybean is like, hey Billy, when you're getting our reed seeds, can you get 3 instead of 2?
Now he's getting greedy.
He's like, because I think we might be bringing back an extra rider with us. Scandal. It is. It really is.
Okay. All right. Now our criminals are escalating. We've talked about this before with escalating.
That wasn't my first thought, but it could be kidnapping. So they ride their 3 reed steeds until they get to a farmer's house in Limerick County. If anyone's familiar with Ireland, I don't know where that is.
I think there's a map somewhere on the wall.
Oh, it's really you're correct. Correct, yes. Right.
Like a Limerick, like, you know, there was from some man from Nantucket.
So they get to this farmhouse, and Little Jellybean is like, hey Billy, guess what? Tomorrow is my 1,000th birthday. Wow! I know, right? 1,000 years. He Bilbo Baggins him.
I was about to say Bilbo Baggins ain't got shit on him. There we go.
So he's like, I'm turning 1,000 tomorrow.
1,011th. Because 11 is a word in that world.
He is
like math teacher.
Now that I'm 1,000, I would like to get married because I feel like that's a good marrying age.
That's when I'll get married. When I'm 1,000.
It's great.
He's sown his wild oats. He's ready to settle down.
So he's like, specifically, I would like to marry a girl who is in this house right now.
Very convenient that they went ahead and got that 3rd reed seed.
Exactly. So this girl's name is Bridget Rimney. She's 19 years old.
Well, you know, like everyone loves an age gap romance, right? Let's look, you know, 1,000 plus and 19.
Is what? Yeah, she's basically a Spencer at this point. 19 and unmarried.
Is this what, 1828?
1828, I think. Yeah.
So yeah, no, like.
So
at this point, she's 19 and not married. What's wrong with her?
Well, I should say she is. Tonight is she's supposed to be getting married to a different person tonight. But first, I'm going to tell you the description of her. So she's 19, straight from the story. Large blue eyes, transparent skin, and dimpled cheeks. Transparent skin. You can see all of her veins, I assume, and organs.
But also in this time too, like thin skin or not thin, light skin. I'm thinking thin because you can see her veins, but like pale and a little pudgy was like a sign of wealth, right? Because she didn't have to work out in the sun and had opulence of eating.
Amazing. Everyone, some people can, and also you shouldn't. The sun is poison. Anyway, I listened to a podcast about it. This is bad for you.
Go eat some sunscreen and call us tomorrow.
Go eat some sunscreen.
It's a reference to a really dumb movie.
Oh, okay.
If anyone's seen The Benchwarmers, they know what I'm talking about.
I've seen The Benchwarmers. Okay. So,
Nick Swartzen, right? Comedian.
Bridget.
So Bridget.
Sorry.
With
Bridget,
her translucent skin.
Yes. So she's supposed to be marrying, I lost my place. She's supposed to be marrying a guy named Darby Riley tonight. But little Jelly Bean's here and he's like, I'm actually gonna marry her. So he magicked them into the house through the keyhole. And then they set up in the rafters.
Too bad he couldn't magic himself into Bridget's hole.
There's more magic there's stuff that has to happen if you'll listen to the story.
Oh yeah, romance is magic.
They're hanging out in the rafters, spying on everyone. At this point, I'm not sure if Billy has stayed like keyhole size or if he is human size.
I'm also just kind of envisioning like Willy Wonka, like you don't actually change size, you just magically can go through the teeny door.
Well, Jelly Beans. I'm not going to try to figure out what 6 inches is. Anyways, they're in the rafters. It might be a full-size human person and a small Clurichaun, but they're in the rafters. And they're watching everything, and the priest who's there to marry them is busy because he is cutting into the roasted pig that is on the buffet table. And while he's doing that, Bridget sneezes. Is that 6 inches?
About 6 inches.
Okay. I'm picturing it.
I mean, based on the rule of thumb, or rather rule of index finger, that this is about an inch.
Okay, so Bridget sneezes. That's where we're at in the story.
Gesundheit.
Incorrect. She sneezes, but no one says bless you. So rude. Reverse drink or whatever. You don't get a drink for that. No one says bless you because the priest is busy. He's cutting ham. And they're like, that should be the priest's job to say bless you. So none of us are going to say it because we don't want to step on any toes.
Again, also, Gesundheit does not mean bless you.
Okay, whatever the Irish phrase is for bless you. Anyone? Yeah.
Gesundheit is German. Does anyone know what you say in Ireland?
Does anyone here speak Gaelic?
Any Gaelic here? Any Gaelic? No, Gesundheit. Anyone know what Gesundheit means? It is German.
Bless you.
No?
Wrong. I don't know what it means. In the story it says bless you.
Once upon a time, quick tangent,
Okay.
I was working in a bookstore, used bookstore, shelving some items. Some guy, customer, browsing shelves near me, sneezes, and I just, over my shoulder, say, Gesundheit, and I keep going. He turns slowly, looks at me, and with condescension dripping from his face, you don't even know what that means.
Jeez.
And I slowly turn and look at him why am I being attacked like this? I was nice to you. And I look at him it's German for good health. It's a typical response when someone sneezes. And he goes, oh, you do know what it means.
Oh, I thought he didn't know. That would have been great.
And so I just kind of kept staring at him what is wrong with you? Just say thank you and move on. Don't accuse, and so I remember going back to the back with all my other coworkers, do I look stupid? And they were that is a loaded question. No one is responding. I'm no, really, do I look dumb? Do I look like the kind of person who would say something if I didn't know what it meant or what I was talking about? And again, I was met with silence, which not necessarily reassuring. But then I told them the story, and
to be fair, I say stuff I don't know what it means all the time. A lot of times I say it on this podcast and you correct me in real time, which is really fun for me. Anyways.
Hey, Jared has the opportunity to edit that out.
He doesn't. Okay, so she sneezes. No one says bless you because that's the priest's job and he's busy eating pork. So, little Jelly Bean is hey, Billy, guess what? If Bridget sneezes 2 more times and no one says God bless you, then I get to marry her. I don't know why. They don't explain that weird fairy logic.
I mean, it's not anyone makes up arbitrary rules and they have, expects people to follow them ever.
Yeah. Has something spooky happened?
No.
Okay.
Unfortunately not. I haven't seen any lights flicker. Lottie must be playing the utility bill.
So, he's like explaining this weird rule of threes about sneezing. And Billy, meanwhile, is like, wow, it would be a shame for such a pretty girl like Bridget to have to marry this 1,000-year-old Clurichaun. So,
is he wrinkly?
He must be. I don't know, he's 1,000.
Is he rich?
Well, no, he's not rich because he doesn't need money because he can just bust through any holes he wants to.
He does have the magic coin, probably.
Yeah,
True.
like, so,
Points
yeah.
for remembering at the beginning. Points for that.
I was focused on the holes.
Anyway, Bridget sneezes again, but she sneezes really quietly, so no one hears her. So no one says bless you.
And she died.
Bridget must have overheard
Well, she's only sneezed twice.
because she doesn't want to marry this other dude.
But then
She'd
she
rather marry
sneezes.
the non-leprechaun.
She sneezes a third time. And Billy is like, I cannot let her marry this 1,000-year-old Clurichaun. So he yells
Billy, no.
from the rafters. No one knows he's there. He's just a boy in the rafters. He yells, God save us! And that breaks the spell. Like, that's another way I think of saying, bless you. Just yell, God save us!
God save us!
I was legit looking up at the ceiling.
Yes.
Looking into the rafters, like, please
Imagine
let there be a man hiding there.
A
Like,
boy.
maybe hanging on the AC return there. Like, I was waiting for someone to come crashing down.
That would count as our spooky things that happen now. Never
That
have
would-
to finish your drinks.
That, and like, I would have applauded and be like, all right, how much did you spend on that fun special effect? Like, how much did you pay him to do that?
I don't spend any money for this. Anyways, little Jellybean's real mad. He gets real mad about Billy ruining his proposal, I guess. And so he gets so mad that he releases Billy from his 7-year servitude and then kicks him in the butt. And
As you do.
yeah, and everyone there, they're like literally there to attend a wedding, and all of a sudden this person has fallen from the rafters, and also there's a small magic fairy. Everyone's really surprised, but then Billy explains everything to them, and they're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And the priest is like, oh, I'm gonna go ahead and marry these two, Bridget and Darby,
This other human.
just so in case she sneezes again, so there's no trickery going on. So they get married, everything's great. And Billy got to stay for the wedding, and he danced and got drunk.
And he got to
And
drink
that's
all the wedding
end.
wine.
That's literally the end of that story.
So, thief, wedding crasher.
And almost kidnapper. It's unclear how that magic would have worked, but I would assume.
No,
it
with
would
wedding
be
crasher.
So, to close out, I have some do's and don'ts for if you encounter a Clurichaun.
Okay. Well, I feel like I'm pretty safe, seeing as how I do not have a wine cellar.
Well, they also could hang out in taverns.
That's right. I'm not
There could
safe.
be one here at this very moment. One of these people could be a Clurichaun in disguise.
Everyone check the bottom of your
Hey,
shoe.
there you guys, lucky ducks.
Check the bottom of your shoe. Make sure you didn't step on one.
That's why they win trivia every 6 weeks. Sorry. Okay. Do's and don'ts. You've got a 6-inch Clurichaun in front of you. Okay, do. Listen to their stories, because they are apparently great storytellers, even though that did not factor into any one of the stories that I read about them. But apparently they love telling stories, and they love to share a drink over their stories.
Yep, sounds like a drunk to me.
It does. They are just describing a drunk person. However, it does say, be careful, because they can drink you under the table, and you might, I guess they'll just talk to you until you pass out. I don't know.
What, and then steal your wallet,
And then
your
keep
non-magic wallet?
The rules don't make sense in this world. Okay, don't make them mad, because even though they are like laid back and cheery and like life of the party, when they get mad, they get big mad. And here are some things that they
Little bodies, big feelings are scary. Again, take it from someone with a toddler.
Here are some things that they can do to you if they get mad. They can turn the milk in your house sour.
Good thing I don't drink milk.
Which you can also do by yourself if you just ignore it. They can stop your hens from laying eggs. They can cause a family member to become sick, specifically with pox.
Oh, like chicken.
Do I get
Multiple pox.
Do I get to choose which family member?
No, you do not. It's a Russian roulette with your family members.
I'll risk it.
They can also make your sheep break out of their pen, which no one wants. That's just a hassle. Or they could just beat the absolute shit out of you, because sometimes they do that too.
Again, those 6 inches really know how to give a good pounding, right?
They can cause you physical harm.
They weren't here for the first time.
Everyone really
I
should
said
be
that joke.
drinking for those, whatever. Okay, another do. So you're not making them mad, you're listening to their stories, you are also leaving them little treats. Not herring and cold potatoes. But after drinking a lot, sometimes they get like,
they get the munchies.
And also, if you leave them something nice that they like, it might get them to do something nice for you, like leave you money. So like that magic coin that they have on them in their purse.
If you were a Clurichaun, what treat would someone need to leave you?
Doritos and Oreos.
A cheesecake. A whole cheesecake every night. A different one every night, but like a whole one. And I would keep them. I wouldn't eat the whole thing in one night. I would keep them in my little Clurichaun refrigerator.
French fries.
This is why we go together. We had the milkshakes and the French fries. They weren't cheesecake milkshakes, sorry.
But they were tasty.
But they were good. French fries.
French fries or popcorn, I'll take either. Especially if you like mix it up with the toppings. Like I love truffle fries and I like rosemary parmesan.
You know what's nice about that answer?
I want bougie snacks.
Is you can provide that for yourself every day with little effort if you want to.
And I provide it for myself all too often. Popcorn is dinner sometimes.
Yes. I love popcorn.
Meanwhile, I have like a fit when my toddler doesn't want to eat his like healthy, balanced dinner. I'm just like, why won't you eat the good food? And then I have popcorn for dinner.
Okay. One last don't for the Clurichauns. Do not try to get rid of them. They are like demons and or water bugs. They will follow you wherever you go.
Unless you have Benny.
Technically a reference to an old episode, so everyone can take a drink. The water bugs are ruining my life right now. And have been for several years. They'll follow you. It doesn't matter what you do. You can move. A water bug will follow you. A Clurichaun will also follow you.
As evidenced by stories 1 and 2.
Correct. So, if you have a Clurichaun, you should just give up. And it's such great.
Hey, also, but on the positive note, don't be wealthy enough to have a wine cellar.
That's true. We did establish at the beginning that no one here has a wine cellar. But we are in a bar, so
like we can encounter them, just don't visit. So basically be nice to everyone. When you go to the bar, be nice to everyone, especially your bartenders.
Tip your bartenders.
Yeah, just the moral of the story. Don't be a dick. Don't be a dick at the bar.
Or in your wine cellar. Or to anyone, I guess.
Nobody has a wine cellar.
Also,
nobody has that kind of money. Man.
Just accept your fate if you've got an infestation of some kind that makes you horribly anxious. And everything will be fine eventually, is what I keep being told. So, anyways, that's Clurichauns for you.
This is my one like scripted thing. Like Hannah has the hard job of talking the whole time. I just have to come up with funny things or semi-funny things on the fly. But I do have my one thing. Are we ready?
Yes.
6-inch stick jokes.
Tell another one of those. Work one of those into it.
I will try. But as you remind everyone, we're not professionals. So.
We're not.
If you want to support us, nope,
you're wrong.
Starting out wrong.
I'm sorry.
Because I'm empty. I'm empty. I was distracted.
There's literally a sign for the first part. Follow us on social media at the
No, you don't know my lines.
I'm helping.
If you want to see pictures from tonight's episode,
which you already saw,
can follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Just search the Tales We Tell podcast. If you want to see the pictures but don't do the social media, check out our website, thetaleslwetellpodcast.com.
And if you want some sweet swag!
And if you want to support us and get yourself some sweet swag, check out our Redbubble store. We've got multiple logos, and you can put that shit on anything. We might even have a new logo soon of a couple of dudes riding a 6-inch reed, heading their way through the holes, ballroom. And if you want to support us, but you don't need this stuff except, I don't know, some early access, commercial-free listening, a good 6 inches. You can become patrons at patreon.com.
Well, if I sign up for Patreon, I get 6 inches.
The Tales We Tell.
Maybe.
We love our patrons. We love all of our listeners. And also, everyone here tonight can check out our YouTube. We have a YouTube channel. All of our episodes are now on YouTube. So Audio only.
Sorry.
Except for maybe tonight. We'll see. There might be at least some clips or
There's
something.
gonna be a few clips. We definitely did not record the whole
We'll
thing.
see.
Our guy over here has got us covered.
Sir Alfred. Little Alfred. So yeah, just search the Tales We Tell podcast on YouTube. And honestly, the easiest, cheapest, quickest, best way you can help us is to go and like and subscribe on YouTube.
Rate.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, if you're on a
wherever you're
platform that
listening, rate, or leave a review for the podcast.
a nice one. We don't want your mean ones.
Yeah.
I read them.
Or else we'll come and haunt your wine cellar. So that's all you got.
That's it. Also, if anyone wants a sticker and didn't get a sticker, we have stickers up here. I've got way more than this. They're in my secret bag. I got you. There's not a t-shirt giveaway anymore. We didn't do that. You can go on my bubble and get a t-shirt. If you haven't tried the signature cocktail and you're hanging around for a while, there's stickers up. Okay, we'll get to it.
I'll do it.
Go make it rain stickers,
If you
Hannah.
want
You
your
know you
own
want
sign,
to.
we'll
You
have
know you want
stickers.
to. All right. Thanks everyone so much for coming
Thank you so
out.
much for coming